all the brothers and the sisters, cooling out, having fun, drinking yayan with Yahweh Shai up in the kingdom, yeah.
Who are we? It's real. That who are we is real. Can't hear you.
Israel.
Who's the power?
Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai's the power.
Who's the power?
Yahweh Bahashim, Yahweh Shai's the
Shalom, Israel.
Shalom.
Shalom to everybody online. Welcome to another live class. We are here at 231 FM 1092 Stafford, Texas 77044. If you're in the area local to Houston, please feel free to join us. We have a few other locations. We also have a school in Virginia at 2610 Granby Street, Norfolk, Virginia. We also are in Rochester, New York at 1600 Lyle Ave, and we're also in San Antonio at 4444 Walsham Road. The class days and times are going to be on the screen, so we basically have class Monday through Saturday, right? Really Monday through Sunday, if you count kids class. So again, if you're local in the areas, anywhere from 7 to 10 p.m., feel free to join us for class. We'd love to have you. We'll get your questions answered. We got good topics that we go over. So yeah, feel free. We got some other ways of watching us. We got our 5 Minutes of Wisdom, ISB HBK Kids, which is a live class on Sunday at 2 p.m. Hidden Truth Bible Show, Israelite Media Corp. All right, we also have the Blog Talk Radio done by Mashaba via New Mexico. All right, that's every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. So make sure you check out these different ways. Make sure you like, share, subscribe to all the different channels. That way, when we put out new content, you will be the first to know. All right. There's a few announcements that we go over. If you're new to the channel, we go over these announcements to keep everybody abreast to what is coming up. Passover garments, the link is going to be in the description. The last day for payment is today. All right. Get it in. Get the money into them. If you were doing the weekly thing, you shouldn't be that far behind. So today's the last day. Get that in, please, so they can start getting things ordered. We got 5 months starting today. Got 5 months, right? November, December, January, February, March, April. Yeah, we got 5 months. So let's start getting. They're gonna start getting things ordered and different things like that. Make sure you're saving money for the travel. We are going to VA, Virginia. They're hosting. So you got to make sure that you got your travel money, garment money. All right. So that's in April. We do have Hanukkah, or the Feast of Lights. That's going to be happening on December the 18th through the December the 25th. That's an 8-day feast. We'll be getting together. The sisters are going to put out a schedule. If you're local here in Houston and you want to get together, let us know. If you are in Rochester or Virginia, you got to communicate with them. I know they're going to be coming together for some of those days. So you just want to, before you make a move, find out what their schedule is going to be like. All right. And you can definitely be a part of the Feast of Hanukkah, Feast of Lights, Feast of Hanukkah, Feast of Dedication. Goes by those three names. All right. So that's it for the feast days. We do have a few businesses. We have Israelwear. Okay, we have Israelwear where you can get a custom garment. They have the fringed up subscription. $35 for a shirt. You get that monthly, a new shirt every month with a biblical acronym fringed up. Or you could do $75 for a shirt with the matching headband. All right. Also with Israelwear, they'll do custom orders. Whatever you want made, pants, shirt, head wrap. hoodie, whatever it is, stuff for the kids, they got you. So you can put your orders in at Israelware. We got Sweet Ambiance. All right, that's where we sell our all-natural fragrances, and then we got Chosen Creations. All right, that's our newest venture, where we do customized jewelry, different woodworks. If you want the 10 Commandments in Hebrew, he got some dope stuff coming, some really dope stuff coming. So you can go to Etsy and check us out at chosencreations.com. Personalized engravings, all different type of stuff. So check it out. We definitely appreciate the support. We do have a Hebrew Academy in Rochester, in Virginia, and here in Houston. Rochester and Virginia is every Monday, and here in Houston we do it every Tuesday at 8:30. So if you're local and you want to be a part of Hebrew Academy, just let us know. If you need to contact a teacher, you can contact me, Pre-Squad Dazab. My number is 303-557-8979. Listen, if I don't, I know some of y'all be texting me, like, can you break this scripture down, or, I know sometimes I don't get back right away. Just, pardon me, but I do try to get back. I try to answer all the texts at least, but I get a lot of texts, and sometimes I'll look at it and then something grabs my attention real quick, and then I'm like, oh wow, such and such text me. That was like 8 hours ago. Right? I'm gonna do better. Just bear with me. My days be packed. I'm sure y'all's days be packed too. Just a little understanding on that. I'm not trying to avoid or ignore anybody. Sometimes I forget. Sometimes, sometimes I think that you ever do the thing where you respond in your head and don't send the text? Yeah, I'll do that. Like, oh yeah, and I look, I'm like, damn, I didn't respond. Or you write it out, didn't send it. Yeah, Salakia. All right, so forgive your brother. All right, we got Priest Kazakia. He's out there in Virginia. His number is 757-300-4047. We got Priest Zionala. He's out in Rochester. His number is 346-234-8440, 8340. All right. Any questions, concerns? You can hit us up. You can hit us up. Any donations that you like to give? And believe you me, we need them. Any donations that you want to give to help out, you can do so. She'll put the flyer up with the different ways to get that to us electronically, or you can go to the Wells Fargo. The account number is going to be on the screen. Remember, we got 4 schools, so the businesses are there, but it's a lot of money that we got to dish out for rent, for lights. Yeah, to get certain things done. So anything you want to help with, it don't matter. Whether it be some books, the brother bought some apocryphers, we needed them, right? I mean, look, right? Take care of my apocrypher. But yeah, whatever you want to give, it's all good. We appreciate it. And I'm gonna say this real quick. I don't know what's happening, but there's 3 brothers that are out sick with the flu. So I don't know if it's ramping back up, what's going on. But protect yourselves. Wash your hands, right? Wash your hands, keep your mind right, eat right, do some workout. You know what I'm saying? To try to keep yourself from these sicknesses that are floating. It's that time of the year, especially when you're in these malls and everybody's close quartered, everybody's touching each other and shaking hands and doing transactions with money and all that different stuff. Diseases and flus and all these things are going to be moving around. So I don't know if something's happening, but like I said, we got 3 brothers that are out. Do we have a school in North Carolina? Yeah, we deal with the brothers out there in North Carolina, Yahweh's Camp. So yeah, we're not out there specifically, but we can lead. We can direct you to some good brothers that are out there teaching. You got the brother Zaquan, and those brothers they out there. They're called Yahweh's Camp. And what you could do, Philip Ben Israel, you can just shoot me your number, and I'll get your number to the brother, and he can hit you up. The brother Zaquan. You can text me directly, 303-557-8979. And I get your number over to the brother, and y'all can link up. I'm not sure what part of North Carolina you in, but I know they're out there. I'm not even sure exactly where they're at. I think it might be Raleigh, I think. But yeah, give me your info, and I'll get it over to them. Right, Shalom, my throat and chest are burning so bad that I lost my voice. Yeah, it's going around. I got grown men catching fevers, man, and shivers and things like that. So it's a real bug that's floating around, and they all got hit in the last couple of days. That's why, right? Ain't nobody here. Yeah, so, really all you can do is wash your hands. Wash your hands, keep your hands away from your face. Try to keep things around you sanitized, cleaned. You know what I mean? And, ask the Most High to protect you from these sicknesses. So that's it for the announcements, man. I got a good class, I think. I think it's a good class. I ain't got no title, though. I ain't got no title. Right? I never have a title for the good ones. But we'll get a title. We'll get a title. What I want to talk about, compassion. And I don't want to just be the one talking. I want us to talk about compassion. I want us to understand really what it is. Do we need more of it? Do we need less of it? What are some of the drawbacks? What are the benefits of compassion? I know, the scriptures talk about compassion, right? Do they? Khan, La? Khan? Okay, so somebody give me a scripture on compassion. Give me one that comes to mind. Give me one that comes to mind. Come on, there's one that we say that all the time. What?
Sin, love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Okay, but there's one that verbatimly says compassion. I mean, there's a few, but give me a scripture that deals with compassion. And yes, being in the same mind towards your neighbor. Go to 1 Peter 3 and verse 8. Whenever this compassion comes out, this is like the first go-to scripture that comes in my mind, right? And kind of what I want to do is basically examine this scripture, like what is it talking about? Because we read it, and I think that we kind of brush over it and we misconstrue what compassion is and what it isn't. And I think the better we understand what it is, the more we'll be able to display it. So read that, 1 Peter 3 and verse 8 for me.
1 Peter chapter 3 and verse 8.
Right.
Finally, be ye all of one mind.
Right.
Having compassion one of another.
Right. So, we go here a lot, right? Be in the same mind, having compassion for one another. Go ahead.
Love as brethren.
Right. Love as brethren. Read.
Be pitiful.
Be pitiful.
Be courteous.
And be courteous. So when you group all these different ideas of the same mind, same judgment, courtesy, pitiful, and compassion, like what comes to mind? What thoughts are being invoked in your spirit? Anybody? Come on, I want y'all to talk. What's being stirred up in you when you read that? You're like, pitiful, same mind, one, love for the brethren, compassion. What comes to mind? Oh, go ahead, Derek.
What comes to my mind is basically treating others how I want to be treated.
Okay. I like that answer. What else? Who else? Treating others like you want to be treated. Because it says that, right?
God.
It says be in the same mind one towards another, right? What else? You got something? What comes to mind? What's that?
Me, I want to say respect.
Respect. That's another great answer, right? Respect. Respect as brothers, respect as brother and sister, husband and wife. Basically, respect in the relationships, right? In the way we deal with one another. Because you got to have respect, right? To have compassion. You got to have respect to be in the same mind, or do you? Do you got to have respect to have compassion? Do I got to respect you? You said what? You think so? Okay. I mean, there's no wrong answer. There's no wrong answer. And as we go through, you know, how we always do, things will start to unfold. What else? What comes to mind when we read this scripture? Like, what pops in your head about how you should be? Because really, when we read these things, this is like a moral, how to deal with each other morally, right? This is like a moral clause. Mm-hmm. This is how we're supposed to deal. But what does it mean to pity somebody? What does it mean to, like, we know what it says, but what does it mean? See, that's the question. What does it mean? Like, what does it mean to have compassion? So, what's that?
Being patient with them.
Being patient, okay. What else, Derek? What you think?
Understanding.
Understanding.
Yeah.
Perfect. What else? Anybody else? So, I think I just asked, what is compassion? Understanding, patience, right? But what y'all are giving me, who else got anything? Shirai, you got anything? Angela, you got anything? What's that?
I would say honesty.
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 Being truthful. Okay. What, Shirai, you got anything?
Say being there for others.
Being there for others. Okay. So y'all are giving me, again, the answers ain't wrong, but y'all are giving me like the components that make a person compassionate. Right? Y'all are giving me the different, like, you got to be understanding to display compassion. You have to be truthful. You have to do these different elements. But really, what is compassion? What is it?
Love.
That's okay, it's love. Okay, you getting close. Now, okay, let me ask y'all a question. Let me ask you this. What's the difference between compassion and empathy? Like, what is empathy? Does anybody know what empathy is without looking? What's empathy? Like the ability to empathize with a person.
Going through something that they're going through.
Okay, going through putting yourself in their shoes, right?
Right.
Okay. So then, what's compassion? Huh?
It's the same thing.
But it's not.
No?
No, it's not. It's not the same thing. And we've been kind of taught that they are. Like compassion and empathy go hand in hand, and they don't. Believe it or not. Believe it or not, empathy and compassion aren't the same thing. Because think about it. Just think about it. He didn't say be empathetic towards one another. He said be compassionate. Mm-hmm. Right? He didn't say empathize with each other. He said be compassionate one towards another. So, what?
Would it be like you have compassion for someone regardless of their situation? Like you don't know anything about them, but you know when you empathize with someone, you understand their background and like, okay, they're going through this, so I'm gonna have empathy. Compassion, you don't know anything about them, so you show it regardless whether they're evil or good.
Well, look at it like this. When you look at empathy, Bakar, putting yourself in others' shoes, compassion is caring. It is, right? You're putting yourself in a person's shoes, And that's empathy, right? You put yourself in a person's shoes. Why? Because you've been there before. You feel, you can literally feel what they've been through. You're like, Dad, I've been through this. I know, like, who here has experienced death? A death in the family. Right. We've all experienced that, right? So the next person that comes in, it's like, dang, somebody passed away in my family. Damn, bro, I know how that feels. I know how it feels to lose an immediate person and maybe a distant person, right? Or loss, or just what, just the things that man goes through. We can all empathize with each other on a certain level because there's nothing uncommon that we all are going to go through, like the scriptures say. There's nothing uncommon to man, right? Everything that a man's going to go through, we all going to experience, whether it be loss, whether it be death, whether it be gain. We can all empathize with each other, right? But then what is compassion? It ain't a trick question. It's y'all are close. But see, you know why I'm doing this? Because if you don't understand the difference between the two, you won't execute. You won't do one or the other. What's that?
So it'd actually be you seeing yourself as the person in that situation?
That's sympathy. That's sympathy. Sympathy is putting yourself in a situation, sympathizing with a person, understanding what they're going through, and not really ever really dealing with it or been through that. So you got sympathy, empathy, but then you have compassion. Now, I'll show you. Empathy is you join that suffering for a person. You join in, right? You join in on the mental burden that they're going through. That's what empathy basically is. I'm going to join in this fight with you. I'm going to feel your pain because I've been there before, right? I'm going to put myself back in that mind when I went through loss or losing a loved one, or it'd be the smallest things, right? I can empathize with you. I know how it feels to have my lights cut off, or have my water cut off, or lose some money. Man, I lost $100. Yeah, I can empathize with that. I know how that feels. I know how it feels to lose a wad of money, or I know how it feels to have your house broken into or car stolen. We can empathize with each other. Compassion is the next step after empathy. So what would it be? What?
Would it be to help them battle it out?
Bam. So not just feeling what you're going through, but now I'm going to do something about it. Now I'm going to literally put myself, I'm already in the battle mentally with you, but now we're going to walk, I'm going to grab you by the hand, and we're going to find these solutions and go through these problems together. That's compassion, right? Go to Matthew's, and let's just get a few scriptures. Let's get a few scriptures, and the scriptures are going to articulate the point. Go to Matthew's 15 and verse 32.
Matthew chapter 15, verse 32.
Right.
Then Jesus called his disciples unto him and said, I had compassion on the multitude.
He said, I what?
I have compassion on the multitude.
Right, man, I feel bad for it. I'm looking at the multitude, man. I'm feeling bad. Dang, bruh. They going through it. They feeling it. They catching hell. Go ahead.
Because they continue with me now 3 days.
Right.
And had nothing to eat.
Yeah, they've been riding with me 3 days. But guess what? I ain't been eating for 3 days. Neither have they. So we both are in the same mind. He's empathizing. Right? He's empathizing with the crowd. He's empathizing with the multitude. I feel you. I've been there. We both there together right now. But he said, I have compassion on the multitude. Go ahead.
And I would not send them away fast.
Wait, he said I would not what?
I would not send them away fast.
Right, so he didn't stop short of empathy. He kept going and said, I'm not going to send them away fasting. We got to do something. Go ahead.
Lest they faint in the way.
Go ahead.
And his disciples say unto him, when should we have so much bread in the wilderness?
Right.
And to fill so great a multitude.
Right. So Yahweh Shai is like, look, we can't send these people away hungry. Or else they're gonna die in the wilderness, man. Then the apostles come, well, how we gonna feed them? Well, that don't matter. We're gonna figure out something. we're going to find a solution, right? Because isn't that what this story was about? We're going to find a solution. The apostle, when you read it in other chapters, one man was like, well, we ain't got this. Another apostle was like, well, we ain't got that. But Yahushua was like, okay, well, let's work with what we have. Go ahead.
And Jesus said unto them, how many loaves have ye? And they said, 7.
Right.
And a few little fishes.
Right.
And he commanded the multitude to sit down on the ground.
Go ahead.
And he took the 7 loaves and the fishes, and gave thanks, and brake them, and gave to his disciples, and his disciples to the multitude. Right,
you see that? So his compassion didn't stop short of saying, oh man, I feel bad for them. He didn't stop, he didn't have the empathy part and not continue. He had the empathy. Man, we hungry, right? We all hungry. But I feel bad for the multitude. You got the women, the children, the elderly. But then let's go to the next step. Let's not just acknowledge what they're going through, but let's try to do something about it. Right? From there, go to Mark. Let's get another example. Go to Mark chapter 1 and verse 35.
Mark chapter 1 verse 35.
Right?
And in the morning, rising up a great while before day, he went out and departed into a solitary place, and there prayed. And Simon and they that were with him followed after him.
Right.
And when they had found him, they said unto him, all men seek for thee.
Right.
And he said unto them, let us go into the next town, that I may preach there also. For therefore came I forth.
Right.
And he preached in their synagogue.
Go ahead.
Throughout all Galilee, and cast out devils.
Right, and this is going to be the point. Go ahead.
And there came a leper to him.
Right, so there came a man with leprosy to Yahushua. Go ahead.
Beseeching him, and kneeling down to him.
Right.
And saying unto him, if thou wilt, thou canst make me clean.
Right, so Yahushua, he's seen this man, and he's like, damn, this man's messed up. Just like the man with the withered hand. Just like the man that was stuck in front of the well that couldn't get in to heal himself. Just like the boy with devils on him. Who are you? Legion. Everyone he came across, he first had to empathize with them and sympathize with them. Yes. Right? I sympathize with you. You're sick. Yahushua wasn't sick. But he could sympathize and say, man, I can only imagine how that feels. I can empathize and say, man, I get how it feels. Right? But there had to be another step taken. And see, again, if we don't understand the differences between sympathy, empathy, and compassion, what happens is you'll feel the first two. But then that third one, you won't be able to get over that hurdle to the third one. Because there's a thing with sympathy and empathy that there's something with sympathy and empathy that if we don't do the compassion part, it does something to us. Right? So, and I will get into that. Read on.
Verse 41. And Jesus moved with compassion.
He did what?
Moved with compassion.
You see how it says he moved with compassion? He started to put things into motion. He started to figure out solutions. Go ahead.
Put forth his hand.
He did what?
Put forth his hand.
Right, so the scriptures are showing us that compassion is about putting forth your hand. Right? Putting some type of work in to alleviate. Not just understanding what a person's going through, or not just trying to put yourself in their shoes, but after you do those things, now let's see how I can make your circumstance better. Let's see how we could alleviate some of that burden. Go ahead.
And touched him, and said unto him, I will be thou clean.
Right. I will be thou clean. And he was clean. Go to Galatians. Go to Galatians 6:1.
Galatians chapter 6 verse 1.
Right.
Brethren, if a man be overtaken in a fault,
Right.
ye which are spiritual,
Right.
restore such and one in the spirit of meekness.
Think about what the scriptures is saying. Ye which are spiritual, you got to perform a restoration process. Right now, just think about that. Think about trying to restore this old burner and getting it back to shiny brand new. What's that going to take? Well, a lot of the things that y'all said, patience, right? Truth, understanding, love, care. It's going to take all those elements put together for you to now restore a person. Because think about it. If I'm restoring you, that means you're broken. That means there's a breach or a crack somewhere spiritually, right? That now I got to go in as the restorer, got to go in, assess, and begin that restoration process. But what if that person don't want to be restored? What if they don't want to go through that? That's why it says, ye which are spiritual, because a spiritual man is going to judge all things, right? A spiritual man is going to understand in this restoration process, in this rebuilding process, in this process of empathy, sympathy, compassion, how hard to push, right? How much to give, how much to take. He's going to understand discretion, discernment. He's going to understand himself. A person that has to restore is going to, you try to restore a whole person back to health. You gotta know you. You gotta be good with you, because you'll go at it, and if you do lack the patience, if you do lack the care, the love, the joy, all these different things, when your brethren, your wife, a brother, a sister, is overtaken in a fault, if you don't know you can cause more damage. You could end up breaking that person down more, right? So it's very imperative that when we go about to administer compassion, empathy, sympathy, you got to be in the right mind. You could be over sympathetic. Did y'all know that? You could be overly empathetic. A woman that's overly empathetic to her child, what does that cause? Yeah, it's going to cause a level of dependence, right? Where that child is going to be so dependent that they're not going to be able to function, because empathy is just the understanding where you're at. You see that? I understand what you're going through. I understand that you're only a baby, right? But where does the now compassion come through? Well, can a 1-year-old baby literally pick up a spoon and feed themselves? Not many, right? Your 6-month-old grandson, is he picking up a spoon? No, right? So what do you got to have? First of all, you can't take the food, drop it in front of him, and be like eating it. First of all, you got to have empathy and sympathy and say, okay, I was a baby once. I had to be fed. I got to empathize and understand that you ain't got it all yet. But then where does compassion come? Let me feed you. You see how that works? Understanding where you're at with either empathy or sympathy, whatever is in the place. And then, okay, let me feed you. Let me shore up that need. Right? That's how those three pieces coincide and work together. But what happens if a person ain't spiritual enough to take the next step? Well, you're going to get frustrated with that baby, right? If you don't do the compassion part and feed them, but what are you doing while you're feeding the baby? You just shoveling the food down their face? What are you doing in that growth period? Yeah, you're showing them, as you're giving this baby this compassion to nurture them and to feed them. And you're doing all these different things with them, right? What are you showing your baby when they're putting on clothes? One hand in one sleeve, one hand in another sleeve. Let's get your socks on. You're talking to them. Let's put on your socks, because they don't know how to do it, right? Let's get your socks on. Now, I'll give you an example. Manashah is what, 2 years old? He get his whole self dressed. That dude he'd be in the tub. I'm washing my body. And he'll get all the soap in his eyes, right? But he knows how to get a little soap on the rag and do the basic minimum, right? And then we got to go in there and make sure he's nice and clean. He knows how to hey, go get your socks. He'll get his socks. He knows how to put his socks on. But if we just had empathy and sympathy for him, we would just do it for him, hoping that what? He'll pick it up. But think about a kid that's learning how to tie their shoe. If you keep doing it for them and not stop and go through the steps, right? You get the loop, the bunny ear. I don't know how to do it. You wrap it around the other bunny ear. I don't know the saying, but you walk them through step by step, right? You're restoring something in them step by step. But if after the 4th time you show them and they didn't get it, you get frustrated or upset, what's going to happen? Well, you're going to stunt their learning. You're going to stunt their growth. You're going to deter them from wanting to learn how to tie their shoe. Y'all see that? So, empathy, sympathy, compassion. Right? Finish that up.
Considering thyself,
right?
Lest thou also be tempted.
Right, and I like this scripture because the consideration is this. And we spoke about this in last class. The consideration is that there's going to be a time when I need the compassion. There's going to be a time where I need somebody to sympathize with me. There's going to be a time where I need somebody to empathize with me. There's going to be a time when I need someone to be compassionate towards me. There's going to be a time when I need all three. But if I'm not spiritual enough in a person's time to be able to administer one of the three, then how do I deserve one of the three? Right? I mean, do you? No, right? You can't ask for something that you're not willing to give. But see, part of the reason why we're not giving it, we don't really know what it is. We don't know how to give it. Now, just with those three scriptures that we went over, and really the first two, and y'all online can answer too. Let me see. Please, I thank the Most High that He blessed me to be a compassionate person, but people seem to not be able to understand compassionate people at times. And I'm gonna touch on that. I'm gonna touch on that because if we're looking at compassion as fixing and finding solutions for issues, sometimes that gets misunderstood. So we will talk about that. I'm glad you said that. But with the first two scriptures that we hit, why is empathy detrimental? Or how can it be detrimental to a person, to an empathetic person? We understood that it could be detrimental to a person if a person is too empathetic towards them and not giving them the lessons. But how can empathy be bad for a person that's constantly giving empathy or sympathy? What is it about those things that can be detrimental to that person? First of all, sympathy and empathy is literally using what? What are you doing? What part of your body are you using? What?
I was gonna say your heart.
Yeah, your brain, right? It's mental. Right. It's mental. You're mentally trying to put yourself in this place, right? To try to get in the trenches with a person. Now, what's the detriment with that? Because it is detrimental. What's the detriment with constantly getting down in the trenches and just being in the trenches? What's the detriment? No, go ahead. No, go ahead. You're go ahead.
That spirit of be on you, you'll be in that same mind, the same thoughts.
Who else? Good answer. Who else? What do you think? The question is, why the detriment? Why is it detrimental for a person to just constantly give empathy and sympathy? Why is that a detriment? How can that be a detriment to a person? Especially when because they're both mental. They're both you're constantly putting yourself, right, it literally in the crosshairs of a person's sorrows. Why is that a detriment? Why can that be a detriment to a person?
Because you never get into the solution. You know, you beating them up. They staying in the problem, and that feeling they never get past it. You just keep going over and over and over in it. So it just sink lower and lower into.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And what Tanya said was right too. Where, think about it. If you're constantly taking on a person's burden or people's burden and literally not going to the next step to find a solution, you'll be burdened down also. You'll be burdened down because now when it's time for you to try to pull yourself out the mud, you don't have the solution. Whenever, it's funny how the spirit works, man. It's like, I could be dealing with something in myself or in my house, right? And I'm like, man, okay, I got to deal with this, right? I got to deal with this situation. And as soon as I give that thought, a brother can hit me up 10 minutes later like, hey, Shalom, man, I'm dealing with some things. And guess what they're dealing with? The same exact thing I'm dealing with. I'm like, okay. So what am I going to tell this person? Because really the same thing I'm going to tell that person is what? The same thing I'm going to do. Right? See, but we look at ourselves, we might not have the answer right off top. Because you're like, man, okay, I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to do this. You know what? I got this issue, but I might have to throw it on the back burner because I got class coming up. And I ain't got my class yet. Or I got this coming up. Or I got that coming up. And your immediate issue, especially as a leader, you got to put a lot of stuff, your own things on the back burner. Right? But as soon as you deal with somebody else's, first of all, hear them out and sympathize if you haven't been through it. Hear them out and empathize if you have been through it. But then taking it the next step to do what? Give the solution. Because that same solution that I might give to whoever, guess what? I'm going to come back and be like, oh, got the answer. So empathy and sympathy could be draining. They literally drain you because you're not really coming to a solution with empathy and sympathy. You're not coming to a fix. We're like, come on, man, it's in our nature to fix things, right? We want to fix things. Like your daughters come to you, right? Mom, what do you want to do? Blow them off? No, y'all want to fix things. You want to sit down with your daughter, right? It's in our human nature, right? First of all, because you got people that say, well, I'm not a compassionate person. Yeah, you are. Or I'm not an empathetic person, or I'm not a sympathetic. Yeah, you are. Those things are built into us. That's like DNA in human. That's something that's innately built into us. That's how the Most High, remember, it said we were made after the image of the Most High, right? So if the Most High is compassionate, empathetic, sympathetic, and we're made in his image, we got all that. But what's the problem? Well, go to Jude real quick. See, what we got to understand, you can write this down. Empathy is draining. Compassionate is regenerative. Meaning the compassion is what regenerates you. Go to Jude 1 and verse 21.
Jude chapter 1 verse 21.
Right?
Keep yourselves in the love of God.
Go ahead.
Looking for the mercy of our God, of our Lord Jesus Christ.
Right, we're all trying to keep ourselves in the love of the Most High. Right? The commandments. We're all trying to keep that commandment, right? Love your neighbor as yourself. Love the Most High with all your heart. Go ahead.
Unto eternal life.
Go ahead.
And of some have compassion.
Go ahead.
Making a difference.
Wait, he said do what?
Have compassion. Making a difference.
See, this is what we got to understand, that compassion makes a difference. Notice it didn't say empathy or sympathy. It said compassion makes the difference. I could sympathize with you all day and empathize with you all day, but what are we getting done? And see, a lot of the times, it's like, I just want to be heard out. Sisters have said that. I just want him to hear me out. I don't want him to fix nothing. Huh? Pump brakes. Brothers have said it, man. You know, I just want to vent. Sisters have said, I just want to vent. But guess what? I can only be vented to for so long. As a man that the Most High created me to assess problems and go in with the fix, right? I can only sit back and let you just throw the problem on me for so long before either I break down or I have to say, no, look, either we stop talking or we're going to get a solution. We can only go so long with just venting to each other. We can only go so long with I just want to be heard out, and then that's it. You being heard out, you venting. It's all well and done. It's good, you know, to be able to get things off your chest. But see, what we got to understand as Israelites, what we got to understand as people made in the image of the Most High, is that how the Most High rolls? No. The scriptures continually talk about how compassionate. It said, even though the Most High chastise us, it says his compassion will last forever. So what does that mean in the context of what we're talking about? He gonna whoop your ass, right? But guess what? With every ass whooping, what does he give us? The fix. The way out, right? The way away from the problem that caused you to get that check. He's always giving the solution. Okay, so you want to get out of captivity? Keep the commandments. Right? You want to keep a clear mind? Okay, stay in the spirit. You want to build yourself? Study to show thyself approved. Like he constantly gives the way out. He's constantly giving us the compassion. We can vent to the Most High all day, right? Don't we do it? In what? In our prayers. Right? When we sitting there crying to the Most High, venting, Yahweh, I'm broken spirited, and Yahweh please, and we doing all that. But then guess what he does when he hears that? Does he just sit up in the heavens like, heard you? Cool, good vent session. No. He makes a difference in your life. Right? He saves us through compassion. But it's how we got to be moving towards each other. But really what it is the ones that don't understand what compassion is, you got to let compassion be administered to you. Y'all get this? Right, so read it one more time.
Jude chapter 1 verse 21. Keep yourselves in the love of God, looking for the mercy of our Lord Jesus Christ.
Yeah, the love of God tells us not to let our brothers sin unto death. The love of Christ says if you see your brother taking in a fault, he that is spiritual, restore him. See, this is the love of Christ. This is the love and mercy that we're all looking for. I know if I mess up, listen, the greater thou art, the more you humble yourself. The greater you are, the more you're accountable for it, right? But I know that if I mess up, I would want to be heard out. I would want brothers, my contemporaries, my elders, whatever, to be able to at least sympathize and say, okay, we get it. And empathize and say, we get it. But I understand one thing. After they sympathize and empathize and, bro, we get it, we understand, there got to be a change. There's going to be some level of fix that comes down the pipeline, whatever that may be. So I get it. But see, why do I say I want the empathy. I want to be empathized and sympathized with, because that allows us to be able to now, when we do send the check down the pipeline or the correction down the pipeline, guess what we got to still do? Sometimes we got to pause real quick before we go too hard. Sometimes we got to pause real quick before we go too soft. So what you got to do is what? You got to consider all things before you just go in, right? He that is spiritual, restore one in the spirit of meekness. Think about it. Some people need the hard check. Think about it. Think about your children. You talk to them, you talk to them, you talk to them. They keep doing the same thing over and over. Do you keep talking? Nah, now you got to get that belt, right? Now you got to take some meat. Now you got to get some flesh. Romero knows about it, right? Romero knows all about that. Yeah. You gotta get that. You gotta get, man, pull your pants down. Pop, pop, pop. You gotta give them 2 of those, right? But see, it doesn't take too much of a spiritual man to understand. Okay, I talk to you. Now I gotta go the extra step. But then now think about this: your kid mess up, you smack them. Your kid mess up, you smack them. Your kid mess up, you smack them, and you keep being hard on them. You gotta come back and say, wait a minute, I've been smacking the hell out of you this whole time. Let me try a different way. Let me try to talk to you. That don't take too much of a spiritual man. You don't got to be like superly spiritual to know, okay, because you can see the effects of talking and hitting, right? But now, let's think about grown men dealing with grown men. I can't just run up on him and hit him. I can't run up on you and just hit you, right? But at the same time, I can't just start cussing them out and going crazy either. I can't just start cussing you out and going crazy either, right? Because where's the respect, right? As just grown men, there got to be there's going to be some hardness. I've talked to you hard, right? I've talked to Ramiro hard, but did I disrespect you, call you out your name, talk bad about your mama? No. But I've went in on this guy, but like scriptures, biblical, eloquent. Look, this is what it's going to be, right? Why? Because what I understand about him, and I'm just not trying to pick on you, but what I understand about Ramiro is that sometimes he got to hear sharp tone and sharp talk for it to click, and he's like, yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. No, to shut down some of them spirits that try to hit and try to clog up the information. So I'm like, nah, look, listen, boom, 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 and it's just straightforward, no extra words, get it done, or whatever the case may be, right? I understand that about him. Why? Because I'm constantly assessing all the different interactions that we have, and I'm looking at what motivates, what moves his mind, what gets him going, what he reacts to, right? Just the same way I do with all y'all. I sit back and I'm spiritually watching, like, okay, she don't like to be talked to like that, or it does something, it irks her, or it does something, or she glitches, or he glitches when they're spoken to in this manner, right? So let me note that for next time. Let me deal this way. Let me deal that way. But it's not always going to be soft talk or hard talk. It got to be a little bit of balance, right? It got to be like what's needed at the time. Really, is what it is. What's needed at the time. So if a person, is always in the mode where you can deal with them with that soft speech, then that's how you deal with that person. But some cats is hard headed, and you got to turn up on them. They get hard headed, and you got to get even more hard headed, right? That's why the spiritual part is so important, right? Because now the spiritual man got to know, okay, instead of letting you just bombard with your issue, let's take it to the next step and let's get the spiritual fix. Where the carnal mind is more like, again, I just want to talk. I just want to vent. I don't want to hear no fix. I don't want to hear no correction, constructive criticism, whatever you call it, whatever you try to mask it as, I don't want to hear it. Right? But that's destructive for both parties. Because like you said, that person's going to be wallowing in their sorrow, right? The person that's coming with the issue. And then the person that's not able to give that fix, they're going to be trying to hold that bag and take it on their burdens. Now, check this out. It said that Yahushua was a man of many sorrows, right? And it said that he was acquainted with our burdens, if I'm not, it's in Isaiah, right? If I'm not miswording, it's Isaiah 53, let's see. It said that he was a man of many sorrows. Let's see here. Right, Isaiah 53 and verse 3. Read that real quick.
Isaiah chapter 53, verse 3.
Go ahead.
He is despised and rejected of men.
Right, so he was despised and rejected of men. Go ahead.
A man of sorrow.
Right.
And acquainted with grief.
Go ahead.
And we hid as it were our faces from him.
Right.
He was despised.
Read.
And we esteemed him not.
Read verse 4.
Verse 4. Surely he had borne our grief.
Go ahead.
And carried our sorrows.
So think about it. It said he was acquainted with many sorrows. He borne our grief. He carried our sorrows. Now imagine the whole world of the nation of Israel is coming to your doorstep. Heal me, fix me, right? Heal me, fix me, heal. And he's like, healed, got you. Leprosy gone. Touch my garment. Felt my virtue leave. Right? He's sitting there taking on these sorrows, hearing all these sob stories, hearing all these different, man, my son is possessed. My daughter is possessed. My daughter been bleeding for 12 years. This sister's sick over here. This man been sitting here for 20 years. Imagine hearing all that. Why do you think doctors, EMTs, police officers, first responders, I was just watching a story about, I think it was like the firefighters in, you know how they're having all these fires in California? And all these firefighters, and that's a dangerous job. And you see people die and all types of loss and trauma. Then people go crazy. They literally got to go get like PTSD treatment, like they've been to war, right? Think about people that been in war. They got to do the psychology, the psychiatrists. But why? Because think about a doctor that's losing patients. Does he get crazy over the ones that come in with bullet holes and then he fixes them? Nah, he don't lose it over those. He loses over the ones that he can't fix. That's why they go crazy, not because of the people they help. They go crazy over the ones they can't fix. And sometimes that burden of not being able to fix, they don't think about the 10 they helped. That one they couldn't fix is the one that they go home, head hanging low, like, man, what's wrong, babe?
Right.
Man, somebody died on my table today.
Right.
Because our our biology, the way the Most High made us, our spirit is made to find the fix, to deal with the issue and come with the solution. Y'all see this? But it drains us when we can't come to or rectify a problem. It's draining on the whole situation, right? But now let's think about Yahweh Shai. Why was he able to move the way he moved through these crowds? He said he took on our sorrows. He bared our burdens. Why was he able to do that? Why was he able to do that? Because he knew what the fix was going to be. Read the next verse. Read verse 5.
Verse 5. But he was wounded for our transgression.
He what?
He was wounded for our transgression.
See, this is the compassion part. The empathy and the sympathy was bearing our burdens and understanding what we're going through and having compassion on the multitude. But you want to talk about ultimate compassion? Ultimate compassion. It said, but even though he took on the sorrow and empathized and sympathized with us, he went the next step. Y'all see this? Read on.
He was bruised for our iniquity.
Go ahead.
The chastisement.
Because that was going to be the fix for the issue. Why are my people dying? Why are my people dying? Why are they not understanding? Okay, well, you know what? Let me go be the fix. Y'all can sit here and vent to me all damn day and I could cast out every demon out of you, right? I could do all these different things and walk city to city for the next 100 years. But is that going to fix it? No, it's not. So he had to be the fix. Go ahead.
The chastisement of our peace was upon him.
Right?
And with his stripes.
And with what?
And with his stripes.
Go ahead.
We are healed.
He said with his stripes we got healed. But he knew that. He knew that. That's why when you read in Hebrews, it tells you for the it tells you in Hebrews, it says Hebrews 12, I believe. These are just popping in my head right now. I'm freestyling this part because these are just popping in my head. But it's I believe it's Hebrews 12. It says, looking unto Yahweh Shai, the author and finisher of our faith. Is it Hebrews 12? Yeah, I think it's Hebrews.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, read 12 and 2.
Hebrews chapter 12, verse 2. looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith.
Go ahead.
Who for the joy that was set before him.
Go ahead.
Endured the cross.
Right, you see that? That's why he was able to endure until the cross. He was able to endure what was set before him because he knew that was going to be the fix. I can't just take on and empathize and sympathize with these people and not come with the compassion. Y'all see this? Right, from there. Go back to Jude 1:21. 1:22, read it.
Jude chapter 1 verse 22.
Go ahead.
And of some have compassion, making a difference.
See, Yahushai's sacrifice was about making a difference. But see, the things that we do, they should be about making a difference. Whatever compassion you display, it should be about making a difference in somebody's life. Now, the question is this. When's the last time you really had compassion on somebody? Or, let me reword that. When's the last time you actually made a difference in somebody else's life? And I ain't talking about your mama, your daddy, your sister, your brother. That's easy. Listen, they got studies that'll tell you that it's easier to have compassion it's easier to have compassion on a family member than a stranger. It's easy. It's easy because think about it. If you was driving down the street right now and you saw your mama on the side of the curb begging for water, you stop it. Mama, what's going on? Right? Or if you saw one of your family members on the corner begging, you gonna stop. Be like, wait a minute, what you out here doing? But think about how many people we pass up on a daily where we can sympathize and empathize, but that compassion part, we're like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna go the extra mile for that one. And I get it. You don't wanna, we always talk about a lot of the homeless people out there, and I'm using them for an example, but a lot of them out there is, you get them money and what they gonna go do? Get drunk, get high, right? But you can go the extra mile and still say, hey, here's a bottle of water. Oh man, here's some food. This guy, listen, I've done it. I remember one time, man, not to talk, I ain't talking about it, but there was a time I was in Kroger. It was weird though, the way it happened. I was in Kroger. I'm leaving out of Kroger and the woman is there with her daughter, talking about they needed some food. And I was like, okay, I'll be right back. Just give me a sec. And I ran over to you got the Kroger and then you got the Chipotle. And I just ran over to Chipotle to grab them something. When I came out, they were gone. I was like, damn, told her I'll be right back. It's little things like that where you try to go the extra mile and, sometimes it works, sometimes it don't. What's that?
I was just remembering I was at a car dealer on top of the Sister Angela on the phone. There was near the highway, and I could see from a distance a lady. She looked like she had garments on, and she was walking in traffic. And I'm like, wait a minute, she got my attention because I saw her hair wrapping her clothes, and I'm like, what's going on? So long story short, I called out to her and I asked her if she was okay, and I ended up, taking her home, which was in 3rd Ward. But it just struck me like she needs someone to have compassion on her, not just to listen to her. And it was so, it would say it's not strange, but she was talking about Yahweh, and she was calling out Yahweh's name, and she said, I can tell you from the tribe of Judah. And I was like, wow, what kind of coincidence is this, out of nowhere?
Be not forgetful to entertain strangers.
Right.
Many have entertained angels unawares. You just never know.
Yeah, so yeah.
Especially in this day and age, in this climate, this age of information, you just never know who you might encounter and who may need that little bit of help, that little extra, not just seeing a person go through something, but literally trying to affect, like the scripture says. Go back to Jude 1:22.
Jude chapter 1 verse 22.
Right?
And of some have compassion.
Go ahead.
Making a difference.
Right. Some people need us to make a difference in their lives. You see that? Go from there. Go from there. Go to Hebrews 10:34. What we got to understand is, dealing with other people's suffering can be depleted, can be depleting. It can take from you. Why you think a lot of the times Yahweh Shai had to go and do what? He literally had to creep off and go regenerate. He literally had to go set up prayers to go re-energize. Right? It was like he literally had to break away from everybody to go deal with the Most High and get that recharge. Because it can take from you.
Hebrews 10:34.
Yeah, Hebrews 10:34, hold that. You know, and then think about the more empathy you give without the solution, or you don't see a fix that comes from it, what does that put that empathetic person or that overly empathetic person in? Sometimes a negative mind, right? They'll look at things negatively, like every time I help, nothing ever comes of it. Or every time I try to help, I'm rejected. You know, so it's real important to understand. You got to know who you're dealing with. You got to know you, right? You got to know how far you can go with just this emotion. Because that's what it is. It's really an emotion, right? But you got to know how far to go with these emotions. That's why you can't be overly emotional. You can't be overly empathetic, sympathetic, or compassionate, because you'll start to lose yourself in these emotions. Because remember, we're dealing with spiritual, cognitive thinking. We're dealing with the mind, right? And what things weigh down the mind. Well, it is going through sorrows and pains and dealing with other people's issues and not being able to come to a solution or a resolve, right? Go to Hebrews 10:34 real quick. There's another one. Whenever I talk about this compassion, this scripture always pops in my head. And I, going through this class, I understand it even more now what Paul was getting at. Read that.
Hebrews chapter 10, verse 34.
Right.
For ye had a compassion of me in my bond.
Right.
And took joyfully the spoiling of your goods.
Right. Pause right there. So Paul, he was talking, and he was saying, listen, you had compassion when I was going through my situation. When I was bound up with what I was going through, you had compassion on that. He said you took joyfully the spoiling of your goods. So what is that telling us? Well, along with all the other scriptures we read, it's showing us that to be compassionate towards a person really is you got to give something up. You got to give something to that person to alleviate a need. Y'all see that? It could be something carnal, but it's more spiritual than anything. Especially now, dealing with husband and wives and compassion. Really, is it really something carnal that needs to be given when we're dealing with husband and wives? And you share everything anyway, so we know it's not nothing carnal. It's more going to be a spiritual insight that's needed to be given, or something that's going to be edifying that needs to be given or reciprocated. You see that? He's using this to show, obviously when you read the scriptures up, he's showing about when a person first came into the truth. He said it, called to remembrance when you were first illuminated, how you moved towards the truth, how you moved towards the brothers, right, in this context. But I pulled this scripture just to show, why would a person spoil their goods? Because I see you going through something, and I'm counting what I have as not necessary for me to have to get you better. Y'all see that? I'm counting, I'll spoil my money and spoil my goods, and I'll give you the phone and the car. I'll give you these things, right, to get you out of your bond. That's me showing that compassion. Y'all see that? Now, because this is the thing with compassion. If we're thinking, and it's cognitive, right? It's up here. Compassion is us intentionally trying to find solutions. It's intentional. That's the thing with compassion. It's intentional. You're literally sitting back and looking at a person and saying, okay, how can I help this person? And it may not be immediately right then and there in front of their face, but it's like this. And sisters do it, brothers do it, But you might see a brother that he might pull in the class and his Bible might just be a wreck. Cover falling off, pages falling out, right? And you're like, man, the brother's Bible is like destroyed. What's going on with the brother's Bible? You know what? I'm gonna take care of that. I'm gonna get him a Bible, or I'm gonna give him mine, and boom, because I got an extra Bible sitting around. You're looking at what people are dealing with, and you're saying, oh, you know what? I got something for that, or I'm going to make a difference with this person in whatever way I can. You see that? It's a unpurpose. You're purposefully thinking to make a difference, to make a change. Y'all get that? Now this is the thing. While you're thinking about what to or how to help this person, you're thinking about, because you are giving, you're thinking about the trade-off. You're thinking about, okay, when I help this person, what's going to come of it? Right? When I do this, because we do it. No matter how much we try to act like we don't. You do have to think about, if I do this, what can happen? Are they gonna take it for granted? Are they gonna be thankful? You know, all these different things, they do pop into our head because we human. Like, we can't cap and act like you don't consider. But it doesn't still stop you, right? Even though if I say, man, the brother needs a Bible, but you know what? He gonna be ungrateful. I still gotta go through and do my thing and say, you know what? Hey, I seen that your Bible was messed up. Here, you can have that one. You see that? No matter how they react, because that doesn't matter, right? That doesn't matter how they react, but it's still a thought. It's still a thought that pops into your head, because we are human, because that's how we think. We're always thinking about, when I give something, what am I gonna get? Right? When I give my time, what am I going to get in return? If I give you this Bible, what do I get in return? Now, you might not be able to repay me anything in return. Right? But do good to the godly. And if he can't repay, the Most High will, in some way or some form, right? We kind of understand that, and we kind of have that embedded in us also, that if I do to the godly, or even if I just do good things, right, in the spirit of the Most High, good will come to me. Because we know if we do bad, what happens? Sin lieth at the door. Right? But if you do good, will you not be rewarded? Right? But we tend to jump the gun and be like, man, so what's going to be the reward? What am I going to get? Right? But I'm just showing you how we think towards being compassionate. I'm showing you how we think, because this is how we think. I mean, I don't care who you are, this is how you think. You may not voice it, you may not harp on the thought, but the thoughts come, or else you're a robot. You're a robot, right? It says, let me see here. Right, so, I mean, y'all understand that little part, right? Now think about this. Ask yourself this. When you do hear a person's situation, and after you empathize and sympathize, and you went that extra mile and brought forth, let's say you were the solution, how does that make you feel? You're a helper. You help people. You fix a lot of things. How do you feel? Like, for instance, you know what's funny? Your whole job is built on compassion. I don't think you know it. Your whole job is being a mechanic. You don't know none of them people from Larry, right? You don't know none of them people from Adam, right? Now, what drives you to? I know you get paid to do the job, but there has to be something else other than money that motivates you to sit there outside sometimes, in the elements, in the heat, in the cold, getting dirty. What motivates that? That fixing spirit. What motivates that in you? Or how do you feel after you fix something?
Satisfaction.
Feel satisfied, right? Now, who don't feel satisfied when they come with the fix? Yeah, who doesn't feel satisfied? Once you come, it doesn't matter what situation it is. You come with the fix. Don't we all feel a little hit of satisfaction. We all get that little jump of dopamine, right? You get set, you're like, damn, I feel good. I feel good that I helped the person, right? I feel good that I was able to be the fix. I was able to get a brother a Bible. Now he can read his Bible and the pages ain't floating through the air, right? Or whatever it may be. I was able to get a sister a ride and get her back home to her family. I was able to do this. I was able to accomplish because, again, we're built on trying to accomplish things. That's one of our drives is to accomplish. We set goals. Even if you got the wackest goals, like I'm going to be the best video game player, it's still a goal. I'm going to be dope in 2K. It's still a goal, right? And once you become the best online 2K player, how do you feel? You're like, I could rule the world, right? You feeling like Rocky. So even the lowest level goals that are set and accomplished bring a sense of satisfaction. They bring a sense of fulfillment, right? Now, my question is this. For the majority of us, why do we stop? Why do we stop at empathy? Why do y'all think we stop at empathy? With all we just talked about, why is it that we'll get to this point where I feel what you're going through, I hear you, I see it, but I'm going to stop because I can't cross that compassion line. Why do we do that? What do y'all think? This could be personally to you, or this could be general to you. What do you think?
I was saying, once you do something, it's like you're the guy. So since you provided this thing, I'm going to just keep coming to you.
Ooh, damn, that's a good answer. I didn't even think about that. So, people stop at empathy and don't move towards the compassion because they don't want to be overburdened with having to now be somebody's crutch or somebody's relief.
Yeah.
Damn.
Wow.
You got your hand up? What's that?
Or maybe
Yeet.
fear of providing the wrong solution.
Okay, so you've tried to step past the empathy sympathy border, but every time you get to that point, your solution don't pan out.
Or just fear of it not working.
Or fear of it not.
Yeah.
Right? So fear of when you try to administer the help, it don't be the right help. Okay. What else? It's easy though. What else? I mean, what y'all are saying is right, but it's easier than what y'all are saying. What? Go ahead.
I got one example.
Okay.
Yeah, like my coworker. Now I seen him help a lady one time. I mean, went out his way and everything. She didn't have money to pay for it. Broke the deal off. Gave her a bunch of free work and this and that. And she called back and complained on him, and then got him in trouble. Yeah, turned around and like bit him.
Bit him in the backside.
Right, and he ended up getting like reprimanded and everything. And so,
All his good was evil spoken of.
yeah.
Right? Because that's fear. Like, man, I don't want these. Like, every time I try to do good for somebody, it's like, I'll give you an example. It's like the doctor that's out in the street in regular clothes and he's in a restaurant eating and somebody's choking. And nowadays, if somebody's choking, it's like, hey, is there a doctor in the house? He could be sitting right next to you. You know, he ain't going to raise his hand. You know why? Because he's going to have to go do the CPR and he might break a rib. Or he might injure you further, and guess what you get to do? He might have saved your life, but now you get to sue him for the broken rib. Now you get to sue him for hurting you. He might have to do a tracheotomy. He saves your life, but now you get to sue him for cutting your throat open. So the doctor is like, oh, no, I'm not putting myself in that situation. Ain't no doctor in the house. Nope, you got to die right there or get somebody else. Right? So it's, what's the word for that? The word is they don't want to be liable. Right? We don't want to be liable. The liability. There's a liability when you, now, it's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna get them demons off you. I'm Yahweh Shai, I'm gonna get the demons off you. And I'm doing all I can, but then, damn, that one demon didn't come off. What the hell is your problem? Bro, I'm trying to get the demon off, right? I'm trying to help. But then they blaming you. You see that? So I get it. There's a fear of being liable for if things don't work out. There's a fear for being, the work that you put in, it being criticized the wrong way, right? What else? Why y'all think? Somebody get me 1 John 3:17, and I'll give you one. It's not easy to be compassionate. It's just not.
Simple as that.
It's easier to just understand, like, oh, I understand what you're going through. I see what you're going through. Peace. Peace. Because compassion means what? Now I got to give my time. Right? Now I got to pause my whole day. Pause my show. Put my phone down. Put the video game down. Put whatever I'm doing down to literally deal with you. Now you understand why y'all are a rarity, the ones that are sitting in here. You brothers that are sitting in here. You know why y'all are a rarity? Because you're at least in the mind to say, you know what? I got to pause my life for the betterment of others. And why you'll see the truth be a revolving door of men that come in because they'll do the empathy, they'll do the sympathy because they've been through the racist situations with the cops, right? But I hate Esau. Can't stand the white man. You hate the white man? I hate the white man too. So I can empathize with you. I can sympathize with you, right? But now, wait a minute. But what about the compassion? The compassion is what? Well, guess what? I don't know nobody in Oklahoma. I don't know nobody in Cali. I don't know nobody in Florida. Well, no, I know brothers in Florida. I don't know nobody in Nebraska. I don't know nobody in Iowa. But there's an Israelite up there that needs to be taught. There's somebody in these different places. I don't know nobody in England. I don't know nobody in Barbados, right? But what do I do know? What's the one thing I do know? That we're scattered and we need to be taught, right? And the only way that's going to happen is if men and women move past the next step and say, okay, I empathize and sympathize with our people, but how do I administer the compassion? But I got to go to the next step. I got to put my things on hold. I got to put my life on pause. Y'all see that? Read 1 John 3:17. And let me read this real quick. It says, experiencing compassion often leads to wanting to help others and improve their welfare. But we find that people may be unwilling to experience compassion. People that may be unwilling, right, to administer compassion find it mentally taxing. Because it is. It's a worry on the mind. Right? And I said it earlier, the one thing that we got to understand is that we don't lack empathy or compassion. Where it's literally built into us. Through the Spirit of the Most High. It's literally built into us. But you know what we do? We find a way to block those traits. I'm too busy. I got too much going on. I can't do that right now. What about me? What about my life? What about what I got going on? We find a way to put ourselves in a situation, especially the way the world is constructed now, man. We've developed and learned ways to not move past empathy. Some slick ways too, right? And we'll chalk it up to, I'm just not good enough. Why aren't you good enough? Or you'll chalk it up to, oh, I'm just not ready. Well, why aren't you ready? We'll chalk it up to these little miscellaneous excuses that they're not really valid. They're not really valid, right? Because who's really ready to stop their life? To give all that to somebody else, or to stop what they thought was life to now be able to put themselves in a position to do something for somebody you ain't never met. At any moment, hey, Shalom, we going to Africa. Africa? The hell? Well, there's Israelites in Africa, right? I guess we in Africa. Right? But that's the mind state. See, that's the hard part. Wait. So at any moment, I can be pulled off one path and set on another. But I like the path that I'm on. Yeah, we all like the path that we on, but the path that we on is the no path. That's what we got to understand. It's a no path. Meaning, if you're tied to this idea of the path being just this one thing, then you already lost. You already lost the ability to be compassionate. Because at any moment, you might be needed to do this. You might be needed to heal somebody. You might be needed to feed somebody. You might be needed to do this or do that towards somebody. But if you box yourself into I'm only here to break the bread up. I'm only here to heal. I'm only here to this. I'm only here to that. Then how compassionate are you really? See, we stop at empathy because it's hard. It's hard to move forward to the next level. Read that, John. 1 John 3:17.
1 John chapter 3, verse 17. But whoso hath his world's goods,
right,
and seeth his brother have need,
read,
and shutteth up his bowels, and compassion,
go ahead,
of compassion from him,
right,
how dwelleth the love of God in him?
Right. How does the love of the Most High really dwell in you if you're not willing to take the next step and dive in with that person? Right? And find the solution. How really much is the love of the Most High in you? Well, it might be in you, but it might be faint. The whole point is, it says that we're constantly looking for the love of the Most High, constantly walking in His love, constantly seeking that mercy. But that's supposed to grow in us, right? Go from there. Go to Matthew 6:19. See, what it is what stops us from moving to the next step of and minister to empathy, from empathy to compassion, is that we're not understanding what we should be storing up. We're not understanding what is considered treasure. What's really the treasure, what we really should be, and where we really should be storing the treasure. We're looking at, man, if I give my time, because they always say time is invaluable, right? You don't get time back. But is that the most valuable thing if you waste it? Well, my time. Well, what you gonna do with your time? Well, Madden, 2K. Oh, so okay, you want to give your time to the video game or the TV or the some woman that don't care about you. You in love with her, but she got a boyfriend. Okay, so you want to give all your time, right? But what about to the things that are valuable or to the things that need your time? See, we've been taught to store up treasures in the wrong place. We've been taught what treasure is and what it isn't, and we've been taught wrong. So read that.
The book of Matthew, chapter 6 and verse 19.
Right.
Lay not up for yourselves treasures upon earth.
Go ahead.
Where moth and rust doeth corrupt.
See, the real treasure is what? Going that mile, getting that fix, and getting that recognition from the Most High. Not the thing you got to give for the fix. Time ain't the treasure. You giving your time ain't no treasure. You having time ain't no treasure. Because in a blink, your time could be cut short. Money, that ain't no treasure. That ain't the treasure. Resources, those aren't the treasures. Because as quick as the money gets given, guess what? We got to give it. As soon as y'all drop the money on the table or send it to the Zelle, guess what we got to do? Right to the damn lights. Right to the rent. Right to something that's needed. So it ain't like, oh, damn, they gave alms today. You know what? We rich. Hell nah. It's like, well, that just got us to where our lights ain't going to get cut off. But I can tell you how. But you see, but what does that do? See, a person should be happy that, man, you know what? I paid my alms. I gave to the school. The lights ain't never been shut off, or they ain't cut, or we still could access the building. We could still do this. We could still broadcast class. Y'all should be happy when y'all give, to sit back and look at the things that you're given to and look at how you're making a difference for others. If we didn't have no internet, it'd just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people and 3 kids in class, getting this class, and many other classes. But what's 9 and 14? 23. Right? We got 23 people now being able to be interactive in class, and it's probably more because multiple people watching the same stream. So let's say we got 30 people listening in. Think about it. Well, I helped towards the light bill. I helped towards this. I helped towards that. You just affected 30 people's lives. You just affected 14 to 20 people's lives online. So that, we should take great pride in that treasure. That damn, I might not be able to teach right off. I might not be able to be, up there dropping the word, but at least I'm helping so that the word can still go out. Y'all see that? That's where the mind should be. And the more you look at things like that and what you're affecting positively, the more you'll be in that compassionate mind when it comes to these other things. But if you're looking at fear, if you're looking at what's not working, if you're looking at all the negatives, then guess what? You're going to draw back. Right? So read on.
And where thieves break through and steal.
Yeah, it's like we want to give the things that can be stolen. The brother bought some TVs for the school, right? And he's not sitting there like, oh, I gave you all the treasure, but anybody can walk in when we ain't here, break the damn door down, and roll the TV out the school. And it's like, well, damn, that sucks. But what is the Most High looking at as far as that situation? Well, he's looking at, well, you try to do something to help people learn on a different level. Y'all see that? Go ahead.
Verse 20. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven.
Right.
Where neither moth nor rust doeth corrupt.
Go ahead. And really the treasure in heaven that we should be storing up is how we affect one another. How we make a difference in each other's lives. Remember, there's negative impact and positive impact. But if I'm constantly making a positive impact on someone's life, well, that's something to be talked about. That's something to hang your hat on, right? That's something where you can say, you know what? I could build a life on that. Why? Because who's looking at that? Man might not see it all the time. Every good deed you do and every, and people might not recognize every time something good is done towards them that helps them. But the Most High is keeping account. Most High is keeping checks and balances. Y'all see that? Most High is looking at every moment where you could have went and did the next thing or you didn't. And he's looking at, okay, what do you consider treasure? Watch, read on.
And where thieves do not break through.
Go ahead.
Nor steal.
Go ahead.
For where your treasure is.
For where your what?
For where your treasure is.
The level that you're willing to go to, the things that you're willing to give or what you count worthy, where your treasure is, go ahead.
There will your heart be also.
And that's why sometimes our heart is not willing to move to the next step because we're burdened down with it's hard. It ain't that hard. We're burdened down with but what if they talk bad? That don't matter. We're burdened down with the sight of man, the man-pleasing element. What if they don't like it? So what? Does the Most High like it? Is the Most High going to approve? See, if we gear our mind towards what the treasure is and where it should be stored, you'll make your heart will move, your mind will move at a different pace. Go from there. Go to Colossians 3:1. Yeah, almost done. Because there's another very detrimental point that I want to bring out. There's something that y'all didn't say. It's something that, when I tell y'all, y'all going to be like, damn. Really? Read Colossians 3:1. Remember, we're still in, why do we not move past empathy? Basically, or why do we lack compassion? Well, we gave a few answers, right? We're going through a few scriptures, but there's one big thing. And we'll get to it next. Read Colossians 3:1.
Book of Colossians chapter 3 verse 1. If ye then be risen with Christ, Seek those things which are above.
Right. He said, do what?
Seek those things which are above.
Yeah, we got to be looking at the treasures that are above. How am I making a meaningful impact in a person's life? Go ahead.
Where Christ sitteth on the right hand of the Most High.
Because that's all that matters. That's all that matters, man. Where Yahweh Shai is and where the Most High is, hey, doing things in that mind state, that's the only thing that matters. In the spiritual mind. Because once you do things in the spirit, it's going to affect the flesh anyway. It's going to affect the carnal anyway. Right? Again, whether it be good or evil, it's going to come out in the flesh. Go ahead.
Set your affection on things above.
He said do what?
Set your affection on things above.
Go ahead.
Not on things on the earth. For ye are dead, and your life is hid with Christ in the Most High.
Go ahead.
When Christ, who is our life, shall appear, then shall ye also appear with him in glory.
So I'm going to give y'all one more shot just to see. And y'all online can answer too. Why do y'all think that sometimes we don't move with the compassion that's needed towards others? What? Not in the mind and the spirit of the Most High. You're absolutely right. What were you going to say?
I was going to say, just off this verse, we're not going to get the glory.
Wait, say it one more time.
Just off of this verse.
Right.
Verse 4.
Right.
When Christ, who is our life, shall appear, then shall ye also appear with him in glory.
Right.
Basically, we're not getting the glory now.
So, I see what you're saying. So since we're not getting the glory now, we're not doing the thing. Okay, that's another good answer. I mean, damn, that's another good one. What else? There's something that's so detrimental to compassion. It's the thing that you have to do. It's the thing that you have to do in order to give compassion. Okay, I'll give y'all a hint. When a woman has a baby, when she gives birth, she baby comes out crying, and mom wants to do what? She wants to feed the baby, she wants to hold the baby, she wants to change the baby, she wants to do all those things, right? You just had a 24-hour labor, but you want to do all these motherly things. What did they tell you to do first? What did they tell the mom to do before she can do all them other things? What?
Oh, well, they'll tell you when you get the baby to put the baby's skin first.
No. There's something that they tell mom to do. What?
Get bed.
Yeah. Get some rest.
Oh,
So, y'all ever hear of self-compassion? There's such a thing. Y'all said it earlier. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Right? Love your neighbor as you love yourself. The reason why compassion is this thing that's so hard for us to move forward is because we never gave compassion to ourselves. Now, what do I mean by self-compassion? Well, he that is taken in a fault, it says one that is spiritual, restore in the spirit of meekness. Now, what if no one's around to see your fault? But you know you've been taken in a fault. You know that you fell. A wise man, just man falls 7 times and pick himself up, but a wicked man fall into mischief. So a wise man falling 7 times. There's self-compassion there, but in what way? Well, what do we tend to do when we fall? Instead of self-compassion, we self what? Starts with a, Raise your hand. But no, you were saying something.
The word ain't.
It starts with a C.
Condemns.
Oh, we self-condemn. We self-condemn. And how do we self-condemn, or what does self-condemnation bring forth? What do you tend to do when you're in condemnation, self-condemn mode, because you made a mistake or you messed up? What do you tend to do? What is the natural, innate instinct in us when we mess up? What? What did Adam do? What?
Try to not do it again?
No. Well, in a way, but what? What do we do first?
Hide, not tell anyone.
You hide. You withdraw from the crowd. You're like, oh, I messed up. And then you, right? You try to make yourself small. You try to duck. You try to hide behind the pillar in the class. You know what I'm saying? You try to sit behind somebody that's bigger than you. So the priest can't see you. Move over. Yeah, we doing this? Why you think in class we're constantly like doing this? Because some of y'all be in the background like, oh, he ain't going to say, oh, man, I know. Man, I've been thinking wicked and I was doing this and I hope the brothers don't know. And then all of a sudden, what? We start doing these classes and the spirit is peeling your cap back and you start shrinking more and more like, ooh, 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 until you're under the desk. Right? Because instead of self-compassion and saying, okay, a just man falls 7 times, and I'm a just man. The Most High is dealing with me and chastising me and correcting me. Yes, I fell. Let me get back up. You're like, man, I'm going to sit here because I ain't worthy. I ain't good enough. I'm whack. My mama's whack. Nobody loves me. It's better if I'm not around. You go through all these things in your mind and psych yourself out and beat yourself down for the fault. Now, this is the thing. We all got faults. We all got faults. So what gives you the right to beat yourself further down where the Most High ain't beating you down? Brothers ain't beating you down. Sisters ain't beating you down. What gives you the right? What gives any one of us the right to self-condemn? Well, it's almost like a thing that's been preconditioned in us. To look at ourselves and literally beat our own selves down. Now, this ain't got nothing to do with self-esteem. Because self-esteem really is when you measure yourself according to others and you're measuring you compared to your peers or whatever the case may be. That's self-esteem. Self-compassion is not that. Right? It's the ability to know that you made a mistake, know that you did whatever you shouldn't have did, but be able to, if no one's there immediately to pick you up, be able to have enough gumption, enough ammo in your head to say, no, I'm not what I just did, or I'm not what I'm thinking, or I'm not that spirit. Let me push myself. Let me get up. Let me keep moving. And that way now, when it is time for the full restoration, a brother, sister can piece me back together. Right? But I'm not going to be in total shambles when they show up to where now they don't know what the hell they're piecing together. They don't know what they're doing. It's that spirit that should be in every man to say, the David spirit, right? The Moses spirit. That spirit, that man, okay, yeah, I did do that, but guess what? I'm going to keep it pushing. I'm going to do whatever is required to get on the right track. Y'all see that? Come on, think about Moses. He made a mistake, right? Moses could have hung up he could have hung it up, but he went another 40 years pushing Israel. Think about it. He went another 40 years doing what? Training Joshua. Most High said, look, bro, you ain't making it. Go get Joshua, anoint him. Most of us would have hung it up like, damn, I'm just whack as hell. But what did Moses do? He was like, okay, yeah, I made a mistake. Okay, go get Joshua. Cool. You know what? Joshua, let's go. Roll with me. Look, this is how you're not going to make these mistakes. But we're more predisposed to the, you know what? I made a mistake. Just take me out to pasture. Let me die. That's not the way to do it. Now, if we do that to ourselves, how are you loving your neighbor as yourself? Well, you are. You are loving your neighbor as yourself, because if you don't got it in you to give to you, you ain't going to give it to nobody else, or you're going to give it to someone else the way you give it to yourself. So if you beat yourself down, guess what? You're going to beat the next person down. You're not going to have the compassion on that. If you ain't got no compassion for your own self to sit back and evaluate you and say, you know what? This ain't me. then how you going to do it for somebody else? You're going to misjudge them or judge them harshly or overjudge or condemn them. That's why it goes back into Matthew. Judge not, lest you be judged. The measure that you measure is the measure you'll be met with. Right? We went over that in Monday's class. But some of us be overjudging ourselves or judging ourselves too harshly, where you literally count yourself as a cast-off. Well, we're like, why are you thinking like that? Better yet, why are you moving like that? Because it ain't that you're saying it, it's how you move. It's how you move towards the body. It's how you move in the crowd. You start to become real faint and real distant and real, shifty. Like, damn, why he back there pop locking? What's wrong with her? What's wrong with him? Right? We're looking like, damn, why is she moving like that? Why is she acting like that? Why is she so standoffish? Why is he so standoffish? But in the back of that person's mind, they messed up somewhere, but they're counting themselves as the castaway. They're counting themselves as lost, and we're like, no, fight. Push yourself. Keep going. Just man falls 7 times. But if you can't give yourself that much credit, then how you going to give the next man any type of credit? You see how compassion works? We don't lack it because you got to first have it for you. But if you don't, you ain't going to have it for nobody else. Go to Psalm.
Wow.
So I'm going to read this real quick, just so we understand that it's not about self-esteem. Right? Self-esteem tends to involve evaluating oneself in comparison with others. Self-compassion, it creates a sense of self-worth. So really you gotta even though you make a mistake or whatever the case may be, you still gotta look at yourself for the good that's in you. Right? We all got bad traits in us. We all got negative in us. Right? But you gotta still look and say, wait a minute, be not overcome with evil, but overcome evil with good. What's the good that's in me? Why does the Most High got me here? What have I been learning all these years? What am I able to implement? Right? It's easy to go negative. It's easy to go negative route. We could all ridicule. I could go in on myself, right? But if I did that, I wouldn't be able to sit here and deal with y'all. I got faults. I got inconsistencies. I got issues, right? But if I let those things be the standout, then what example would I be to y'all? Y'all see that? But I got to first be the example to myself to say, wait a minute. Okay, if I'm like this, if I deal with these things and I know how I want to be dealt with and I know what I need to do to keep moving, what does the next man need? What does the next sister need? Y'all see that? So you got to create a self-worth. And that's really how you're going to recover. The restoration process begins with you. That's what we got to understand. Because a man can come and try to piece you together, but what if you don't want to be pieced together? What if you don't want that? Or what if you don't have the ability to understand that they are trying to piece you together? Because why? Oh, he's talking to me harsh. Oh, because he's talking to me hard. Oh, because, he's blowing me off because he's not talking to me hard enough. You see how that mind starts to go? Oh, they don't care because they ain't hit me up. Or this because of that. And then you start to develop this fictitious little fight within yourself, and you aim it at the men in front of you. But it got to start with you. You got to want to be restored and rebuilt. You got to want to understand that the negative ain't you. That's not you. That's not who you are. Or it is. Right? Or it is. I mean, I know when I mess up, that ain't me. The negative, like Paul said, the good that you want to do, you don't do it. Why? Because the sin that's in you, the flesh, that fight, that struggle. Y'all see that? But I know one thing. It's a fight and it's a struggle. And you don't win every battle. You don't win every battle. That's the one thing I understand, that you're going to do things and you be like, man, why the hell did I do that? Why did I say that? Why did I act like that? You're not going to win every single battle. You're going to lose battles. But the point is, as long as I'm winning more than I'm losing, as long as when I go through the battle again later down in life, that I can evaluate the past to make the future better. As long as I'm growing in the spirit, then I can say something for myself, right? Again, I can hang my hat on those things that, wait a minute, the treasures in heaven is also me growing as a person, as a man, as a brother, sister, father, husband, wife, right? Daughter, aunt, grandma, whatever. I'm growing out of certain things and into this renewed person. There's something to hang your hat on. Remember, it all starts with each individual being renewed in Christ in the knowledge, right? You can't renew somebody until you're renewed. Don't you get it? You can't walk up to the bum looking like a bum, like I got the get rich scheme. The first thing they're gonna do is like, nigga, you ain't got no shoes on. Where's your house at? They're gonna want to see the get rich scheme results, right? So if I'm walking up on a person like, put the blunt down, put the thing, but I might not be eating pork, but I'm angry, prideful, hateful, murmuring, backbiting. They're gonna be like, but you do all those things, so why should I stop eating pork? Why should I listen to you? You see that? He that is spiritual, restore one in the spirit of meekness, considering his own self. Y'all see that? What am I considering about me? Well, that I go through things. Go to Proverbs. Remember, we're as Israelites, we're so adapted to attacking, but sometimes we attack ourselves. But then if you're in that mind to always attack yourself, then guess what? You're gonna love yourself as you love you're gonna love your neighbor as you love yourself. You're gonna deal with your neighbor, right? You're gonna be in the same mind. It said be in the same mind one towards another. The same mind you are in with yourself, you're gonna disperse that to others. Y'all get this? We understand? Proverbs 17:22.
Proverbs chapter 17, verse 22.
Right?
A merry heart does good like a medicine.
Go ahead.
But a broken spirit dry as the bone.
A broken spirit what?
Dry as the bone.
Yeah, a broken spirit is dry. It's going to dry you up. But if you're dry, how can you administer anything that pertains to life? You can't. You won't be able to. You won't have the drive. You won't have the mind to. Go from there. Go to Proverbs 18 and 14.
Proverbs chapter 18, verse 14.
Right?
The spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity.
Right. The spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity. Meaning what? You know, you can push through certain things. You might be going through something, but you're like, man, nah, I got this. I'm going to push through this. Right? It could be a physical infirmity. You got people that are like, man, they'll break a bone, and you got Kobe Bryant, broken fingers. And he's like, nope. My spirit is stronger than my body. Now I'm going to play with broken fingers or broken Achilles. Nigga ripped his Achilles out, got up and shot 2 free throws. Because why? The spirit in him was like, nope. This is what's upholding me, right? That drive to do good. But look at that on a spiritual sense. We'll do things, we'll go through things, man. We'll have these infirmities in us. But if your spirit is strong and towards the Most High, guess what? Look at Paul. Paul had infirmities. But his spirit was like, nope, I got to keep pushing forward. Go ahead.
But a wounded spirit, who can bear?
But a wounded spirit. You know when you get that wounded spirit, you done suffered some great loss or catastrophic something, and it's you just woe is me. Who can help you? Nobody. Come on, man. When you go through a situation of death and it wounds your spirit, what words can a person give you that's going to pull you out of that? Nothing. Nothing. It's really up to you to settle your mind and say, you know what? I got to pull myself up out of this first. I got to want to go through this process and go through it quick so I can move on. I got to want to move on. Why do you think some people get stuck in the mourning cycle? You mourning for 9 months out the year, then you go for the memorial, you dropping flowers at the grave, then you back in mourning. And then you just repeating that. And you constantly just, woe is me. So what is it saying though? We got to make sure that in our spirit, these wounds, these sores, watch, go from there. Go to Psalms. Go to Psalms 109, 22.
Psalm chapter 109, Verse 22.
Go ahead.
For I am poor and needy, and my heart is wounded within me.
Go ahead.
I am gone like the shadow when it is declining.
Right, and that's how we feel, man. When our spirit is wounded, when we going through things, when we feeling down and out of luck, you're like a shadow that's just passing away. You like, damn, where the sister at? Just shrunken in the corner, out of sight, trying to make yourself small, try not to be recognized, try not to be get the finger pointed at you. Whatever the case may be, your spirit, it shrinks. Go from there. Go to Isaiah. Oh, read on. It says, I am tossed up and down as the locust. Right?
I am tossed up and down as the locust.
Right. Go from there. Go to Isaiah 1 and 5.
Con.
Because that's how it feels, man. When that spirit is wounded, when it's not stable, when you're just going through things, it's like, man, the emotions, right? You're just up and down. But think about it. In those moments, wouldn't it be nice to have a fix? In those moments when you're just like, man, I don't know what to do. I don't know how I'm feeling a certain way about whatever it is I'm going through. And I wish somebody would provide a fix. The whole time you're doing what? You're praying to the Most High. Yahweh, please fix me. Yahweh, please help. Right? Save me. You crying. You doing all that stuff, right? But what is he trying to do the whole time? He's trying to send you the fix. He's trying to send you the compassion. But we don't know how to take it sometimes. Read Isaiah 1 and 5.
Isaiah chapter 1 verse 5.
Go ahead.
Why should ye be stricken anymore?
Go ahead.
Ye will revolt more and more.
Go ahead.
The whole head is sick.
Uh-huh.
And the whole heart faint.
Yeah, man. Bro. Sometimes we get into these situations where it's like, man, I'm faint. I'm weary. I'm faint-hearted, right? But what are you supposed to do in that time? Keep being weary and faint-hearted? Keep being sick? Read on.
Verse 6. From the sole of the foot even unto the head, there is no soundness in it.
Am I supposed to keep going around without soundness? Without anything sturdy to stand on? Read.
But wound.
But what?
But wound.
Go ahead.
And bruises.
Go ahead.
And
putrefying sores.
And putrefying sores.
Man, sometimes this is how this is the result that we feel when we go through our faults. You feel like a wound been cracked open in your spirit. You feel like an open sore when you're around. You feel like the negative is oozing out of you. So I get it. I don't want to be around. I want to isolate. I don't want to communicate. I don't want nobody to see me. I just want to be, a tub of ice cream and Netflix, right? I'm not going to pray to the Most High because I'm not worthy. Oh, I hear that all the time. You've been setting up prayer? Nah. I'm just not worthy for the Most High to hear my prayers. Okay. Well, we're going to be praying for you, sis. We're going to be praying for you, bro, because if you put yourself in that mind that, first of all, none of us are worthy to hear for the Most High to hear our prayers. That's first and foremost. Ain't none of us worthy, right? That's where grace, mercy, compassion comes in from the Most High. But if you can literally fix your face to say I'm not worthy and then move like you're not worthy when, again, we're all not worthy. But then you're going to move like it? You're going to actually neglect the thing that you need to do? Then that's the problem. But then think about it. How can you, I'm going to keep asking, how can you administer something to someone that you've never given yourself? How can you tell someone to do something that you ain't doing yourself? Somebody could, you should pray about that. But then you're like, damn. But whenever I go through my thing, I don't even be praying. Damn, it is hypocritical, right? Because that's what it becomes. Hypocritical. Go ahead.
They had not been clothed.
Right.
Neither bound up.
Right.
Neither mollified with ointment.
Right. So it's 9:05, but just we're gonna go through. We just gotta just a few points and just a question. So where does self-compassion, where does that start? How do we start to give ourselves that self-compassion that's needed so we can be a benefit? How do we start to make changes in our lives to be able to affect others in that good way? Where does it start? What do y'all think? What's one thing we got to do? Where does it all start?
Scriptures.
Right. Okay, but which one? What? You're right. What's that?
It starts in your mind. You gotta change your mind.
Right, but okay, but how? What if? Okay, so I'm gonna articulate what you said in a way that brothers and sisters literally say it. I gotta get me right first before I could be around. I'm over here, I'm messing up. I know I've been messing up. But I gotta go, brother. Where you been at, man? I gotta get me right before I could be around y'all. Okay, so how does that work, or what's the issue with that? You got your hand up?
No.
Oh, okay. I was about to say I thought Elijah was ready to get up in here. Well, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
That notion doesn't work. That thought process doesn't work, because if you knew how to get you right on your own, you wouldn't need to be around. And you would have been right when you came in the first time. You would be right every time you come around. You would be right on your own. You wouldn't have to self-condemn. You wouldn't have to go through this process, right? So it goes back to the same basic principles of repentance, which is the first thing is confession.
Yes.
Yeah, acknowledgement and confession. So y'all could just write these down. Where does self-compassion start? Well, I got to be honest with myself. I got to stop lying about who I am and what I bring to the table. Right? Sometimes I got to admit that I don't even know what self-compassion is. I got to admit that I don't even know what compassion is. Let's start there. Let me confess that I don't know what these things are. And I don't know how to go about doing good to myself or evaluating myself. So once I confess that, then what do I got to let happen? I got to let somebody else, think about it, wounds, putrefying sores, not bound up. Who in here is a doctor or got any nursing? Right? Angela, right? Right. Oh, right. So, I mean, let's be real. If I had some crazy scrape that needed stitches, I'm probably not going to go to Derek. He probably going to throw some duct tape, you know what I'm saying? Some DW-40, spray me down, boom, duct tape, you all patched up. Super glue me up, you know what I'm saying? And wrap it up with some, I'm going to go to one of these sisters that know, oh, no, but this stitch, that stitch, right? They're going to know how to fix the issue properly. He might be able to assess and say, oh, yeah, that's a real deep one. But I'm not going to let him do nothing because he's just going to super glue me. He's going to do the mechanic fix, right? Not saying that he super glues cars, but y'all know what I'm getting at, right? He's going to do the mechanic fix. I need a doctor. So with wounds and putrefying sores and bruises, who goes to the next person that's already bruised up to fix bruises? Like, again, I need to get stitches, but you're going to go to somebody that got all their wounds open and they need stitches. Hey, stitch me up. But they ain't been stitched up? Right. So that means you got to go to the ones that are able to assess and be able to stitch the things up right and fix things the right way. It's not just who you go to, it's or just going to someone, it's who you go to. So once I confess, then I have to, I got to be willing to be evaluated. I have to be willing to be evaluated, right? Then I have to listen to the evaluation. Who, when the doctor is holding up the little X-ray and he's putting it up and he's like, yeah, so your collarbone's broken. You're like, oh, hell nah, doc. That ain't my collarbone. It's my pinky. No, you're like, oh, really? Damn, my collarbone, and you can see the break and the collar. You're like, oh yeah. You're not rejecting the assessment. Like, nah, nigga, you wrong. Why'd you do the x-ray like that? You ain't doing that, right? You're like all ears, attentive. Yeah? Oh, so I can't lay on it? Oh, so I got to lay on my left side because my right collarbone's broke. Yeah, I can't put no pressure. Okay, can I shower? Yeah. You asking all the questions to make sure what? What are you trying to make sure? What?
You heal properly.
You're trying to make sure you heal properly. You're trying to make sure that whatever you do is not going to further your infirmity or your injury. Because that's part of self-compassion. Not furthering the injuries. Not furthering the infirmity, but saying, man, I need to be healed. Right? So you're gonna ask all the questions that are necessary for you not to aggravate your injury. But see, it's easy to do it physically, right? Because you can feel that pain when that damn bone is broke. Or when that cut is busted open. Or whatever it may be, you can feel that. That thing is charging into your brain. But how come we don't tap into that time when that spiritual torment is hitting? And you're supposed to be asking all the questions like, okay, so how do I avoid going through that same road? And what am I supposed to do when I'm starting to feel like this? Nobody asks that question. So when the temptation is starting to hit, what am I supposed to do? See, that's the question that should be asked. So, when I'm starting to feel this way and, these spirits are trying to hit me and attack me, what do you think I should do, Doc? Oh, well, listen, bro. We got this, we got this, we got this, we got this set up, we got this going on, this is what you need to be doing, boom, 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 boom. Right? It's easy when it's physical. What do I do for a headache? Pop some aspirin. Oh, damn, feel better. Right? It's easy when it's physical. It's easy to take the physical assessment and hang on to those words, but now when it comes to your spirit, why is it so hard? Because a lot of the times we don't care about ourselves. That's what it shows. That lack of compassion shows you don't give a damn about yourselves. That's all it boils down to. Right? Because someone else is there trying to administer the things that they know is going to work for you. It ain't no guess. When a doctor is like, yeah, so we're going to put a cast on your broken arm, is he guessing? Oh, he ain't guessing, man. Because why? He doesn't seen the cast work. So when we say, well, this is what you need to apply spiritually, it ain't a guess. It's, the ones that have applied it, we've seen it work, so this is what you should do. When you're like, oh, no, I don't like that assessment. No, hell no. I don't like that. I'm not going with that. I'm not going with that. But we got to reverse it. Take the assessment. What do they call it when the doctor the evaluation, right? Or what do they call it? The consult. Because that's what doctors say. I have a consult in room blah blah blah, right? I have a consult because they're consulting you on what's needed, but it's up to you to take it, right? But how many people really reject the doctor? Not many. Nah, I don't like that. I don't like that consult, doc. Right? Not many. So now, you take the consult, you listen, right, to the constructive criticism, and you acknowledge what's being said. Then you got to apply it. And then you got to do what? How do I prevent myself from going down the road? Well, self-maintenance, self-care, maintenance, maintain those things. And that's it. Maintenance comes in the form of communication, asking, right? Being when you maintain something, when you maintain a car, you're not proactive. You're preventative, right? Preventative maintenance, they call it. You're preventing. You're preventative. So I may not be dealing with nothing now, but guess what? Hey, we need to wrap. Okay, what's up? Well, nothing. I just wanted to rap. The last situation, this is how I'm dealing with it. This is what's going on. Oh, really? Oh, that's what's up. That's Tawab. You know what? Make sure you add this. Don't forget this part. Oh, damn, I forgot that part. You're right. Let me add that in. Let me do this. Let me do that. Oh, you fasting. But make sure you're praying. Make sure you're doing this. Make sure you... Preventative maintenance. Right? Now, I got one more question. because there's another thing we talked about a little bit. But why do we stop others from having compassion on us? You got people that are trying to administer their compassion. Why do we block it? Now, this ain't no trick question. It's almost the same reasons why we don't have it for ourselves is why we stop other people from administering compassion. So, I'll ask it in this way. When we look at all we just went through, what is compassion really? What is it?
Yep.
Okay, it's help, right? What else? What's another word for help? It's the fix, it's the help, it's the solution, right? But think about it. What does it come out as? What does it come out as? Like, let's deal with husband and wife. What does help from a husband come out as?
Correction.
Woo! Yep. Now, we ain't gonna stop there. What does compassion look like? If it's help, if it's solutions, if it's this, if it's that. In some situations, husband and wife, what does it look like coming from a woman? or better yet, how do some men take it? Well, it's easy. I don't need your damn help. We take it as usurping the authority. We take it as, why are you trying to check me? We take it as, what the hell is your problem? Shut up. Right? Now, I'm not saying that it's right. I'm not saying that it's right. What I'm saying is that if you're not used to doing something or having something done towards you, you're going to misjudge anyway. You're going to misjudge what's being done. You're going to misjudge a person's intention. Right? You're gonna first of all, you're gonna lack the understanding of what that person is trying to do if you don't know what it looks like. You're gonna lack. Think about it. Anything that looks strange when it's coming towards you, you're like, man, what the hell's that? And you're real skeptical and you're like, oh, okay, it's a dog. Right? But before you see that it's a dog running up on you, you got everything like, damn, it's a lion. Looks like a big lizard, right? Iguana. You got all things popping in your head. You're like, oh, it's a dog. I got it. Okay. Still be scared, right? Lack of understanding is why we don't let people administer compassion or the solutions or the help. Pride. Pride helps to block that compassion that is needed, right? Lack of trust. Lack of faith. Right? Those are the ones I came up with. Just in closing, I mean, and y'all can, if a thought comes to your head, y'all can add it. But, we really gotta look at those things and say, man, why is it that when someone's trying to help me, right? Because that's all it is. Like when we see a problem, when your husband sees a problem, when your wife sees a problem, a good wife ain't gonna sit back and just let you have a problem. It says a wife is a tower against death. So what is she supposed to be? She's supposed to be looking out and seeing the danger coming and be able to say, hey, danger's coming. Right? But see, if you don't understand that that's part of her role, and that, yeah, she's not trying to usurp authority, she might not be seasoned and being the tower against death. Because that's all it is. It's season. It's tact. It's know-how. It's experience. So when it does come off, it's like, why are you trying to take the authority? Why are you trying to usurp? That's how it comes off sometimes. Right? With the man, if he's not seasoned, if he's not tactful, if he's not experienced, it's like, why are you always checking me? See how I can do that for both? Because again, we're so predisposed to just, I'm a checker, I'm gonna go in, but really you're just trying to help. Really you're just trying to show her that compassion. Really you're taking on what she's telling you, and you're saying, "Damn, there got to be a solution. Let me show her what I would do in that situation." And what do we come off as sometimes? Brutish. Sometimes we come off as unbalanced. Sometimes we come off as domineering. I'll be honest, we do. As men, with the Bible, with our emotions, sometimes we just want to get things fixed, and we get so compassionate sometimes, or so passionate, over things. It comes off the wrong way. So what does it mean? That it's delivery. Our delivery, the way we administer. It's not. Think about it. I got water, right? Boom. I'm nice and refreshed. But if I go try to drink an ocean, I'm gonna die, right? Because that ocean is gonna kill me. It's all water, but it's how it's administered. So the way we go about to administer the help, the compassion, the empathy, the sympathy, it's really about gauging he that is spiritual. When one is taken in a fault, he that is spiritual restore in the spirit of meekness. You can still be meek and strong. Did you know that? You still can be meek and assertive. You can still be meek and be brotherly. You can be meek and be sisterly. You could be meek and still be a man. You could be meek and be like meek don't mean that you got to be wimpy and weak. Moses wasn't wimpy and weak. He stood for what was right. So, that's it. Any questions? In class, online, on the topic. There's a lot of people saying a lot of stuff. Let's see here. Let me see. Marcy. Right, and understanding that we all have been in a lower state and still are. Yep, that's part of compassion. Feel their pain. It's compassion, understanding what someone is going through, but at the same time showing them the correct way through things. Yep, you got it. Sure, let's see here. Being compassionate is a beautiful characteristic. Yep. The person that you're helping is not taking the help to get out of the situation, like you said earlier. They just want to vent. Right, venters. Brother, I just want to tell you how much I appreciate your dedication and tenacity at getting this word out to us. Something just came up in my spirit to tell you that. Even when it may seem like we as students are not enthusiastic, I want to let you know that I'm just taken aback with the times we are living in, looking to a sober voice. Thank you, sir. Hey, it's my duty. Barakatah Yahweh, I'm glad I could, show my compassion. You know what I'm saying? And do this work. Angela.
What does meekness look like?
Meekness looks like being wronged or harmed in a situation and not letting that be in the forefront or back burner of your brain. Meekness is the ability to be offended or be wronged and not decline from
judgment.
Right. It's like you could offend me, but I'm not going to decline from being there for you. Right. I'm not going to withdraw myself. It's the ability to I'm losing the words that I need to give the proper enduring injury without resentment. So, again, we can go through a situation where it might be injurious to me, but I'm not going to have a resentment towards you for the situation or for your part in the situation. So what it looks like is when Miriam spoke against Moses, Most High made her leprous, and then Moses said what? Don't fix her, right? Meekness is when the people murmured against Moses, And when the Most High said, move out the way, let me drop their ass and raise up stones to worship me, and he said, no, don't do that. Remember, you promised to bring these people. That's what it looks like. That's what it is. The ability to really, when you look at it, it's really the ability to understand people on a level of, if I'm rubbing elbows with you at this close proximity and we're going through situations, it's really the ability to understand that we're not all thinking the same towards the situation. And I'm not going to hold you liable for the negative that you come with. So think about it. Moses, what did you do? You brought us in the wilderness for us to die and for our children to be eaten? No, I brought you to be saved. Right? But guess what? I'm not going to hold that against you because I get it. You don't think the way I think. But guess what? Let's keep walking. Right? Let's keep moving. Let's keep going forward. I'm not going to bring that up 10 years from now, 5 years from now, 2 years from now. That was water under the bridge. We going forward. Oh, next offense. So you want to stone me? Oh, okay, cool. But just remember, you can stone me, but it's all about the Most High. So you want to keep walking or you want to stone me? Okay, we'll keep walking. So, okay, you tried to stone me. You accuse me of trying to do wrong towards you. Water under the bridge. Keep walking. Next instance. So that's what it looks like. Not holding a grudge. Not letting that resentment build up from prior instances. The ability to endure injury without, come on, think about it. If let's say Ramiro cut me in the wrist with a knife. Let's say he did it by accident. He cut me, right? He's doing something. He cut me with a knife. I'm going to always have that scar to remind me of what? That he cut me, right? Now, I could say, well, damn, it was by accident. Or I could, I don't know what his intentions were. Man, was it by accident? Wasn't it by accident? But really, the meekness is, okay, the brother cut me with the knife. I healed. Cool. He's good. We moved on. Look at the scar. I don't even have a thought towards that, right? I got a scar. I got cut by a knife, right? I'm not building up now some type of thought behind the man. I'm not trying to understand his intention. I'm not trying to put a negative or a positive. I'm just moving forward. It's a scar, right? You try to stone me. Okay, you ain't the first, you ain't the last. Moving on. You see that? So that's what it looks like. Is it easy to get there? It's another story. It's hard. It's hard to get there. It's hard to fix your mind on not being resentful. But really it goes back to what? Understanding that my mind ain't your mind. And the way you feel about things is not the way I feel about things. So, I'm gung-ho for the Most High. And this person is not. So they may do something that it brings up an injury or some type of negative, right? They might do something that affects me negatively because their enthusiasm ain't there. Well, I get it. We don't think the same, so I'm moving forward. You see that? It's a mental thing. It's really putting your head, trying to put your head in the head of the Most High, right? Think about the Most High. Think about how many things we've done injurious towards him, where now he's not resentful towards us and not holding it up on us, right? Because you're not getting blasted for what you did yesterday. That's already gone. You're going to get dealt with for what you did tomorrow. You see that? So, yeah. Behind the bar. That it? Anything else?
I got a question.
What's
off
it?
Topic, bro.
Okay.
Like today, after I took the children to the doctor, I got home and there's a Whataburger right there, bro.
Ooh.
Like in front of the door. And Grub home dropped it off.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't have an address to it or nothing. And then I checked it like to see what it was. Cause I was hungry.
At least he admitted it.
Yeah.
I would have been hungry too.
Yeah, and then it turned out to be like sausage and egg tacos.
Oh, damn, it wasn't a patty melt?
Nah,
Ah.
all that. Would have been wrong, like, cause I had, it came in my mind, like, cause they're like down the street on Fondant and everywhere, like, people asking for like money or change and stuff. Would it have been wrong if I would have taken them that?
I wouldn't have gave it. Remember, Matthew 5, 17, 18, 19. Whosoever shall break the least of the commandments and teach men so, he shall be called at least in the kingdom of heaven. So think about I wouldn't bring pork to anybody because I don't want them to think that's what I'm about, and I don't want to teach them that that's the thing to eat. So yeah, it would have been wrong. Oh yeah, Matthew 5, 17, 18, 19. Yeah. Huh? Yep. It's still wrong. That's like saying, can I sell drugs to the heathen and not to my people? It's the same thing. Like, okay, so I'm a drug dealer, but I only sell to the white boys. Still wrong. Shouldn't be a drug dealer, right? Or I'm only a killer. I only kill white people. Thou shalt not murder. Yeah, there's no way around it.
Well, what about the one where we can't eat nothing, an animal, a dead animal, but we can sell it?
That's different. A dead animal that's lawful. It said we can't eat anything that's been killed by another beast or torn, right? But that was a lawful animal anyway. We wouldn't let that go to waste, but yeah, it said we could take that and sell that to the stranger or the alien, yeah. Just like, I mean, there's a few laws that we wouldn't do to each other that we can do to the nations, but remember, it was still lawful. So you weren't taking shrimp, crab, lobster and slanging that, to the nations. Yeah.
Wow.
Just like usury. You can do usury to the nations, but you can't do it to your brother. Slavery. You can enslave the nations, but you wouldn't do a bondman situation to your brother or your sister. You can have your brother or sister as a servant that's hired, which they got a wage, they get paid, but they couldn't work for you for free. Unless they were paying off some type of debts or something like that. But a stranger? Hell nah. They were slaves, and their kids were slaves. And they were slaves all the way until they mama and whatever you wanted to let them go if you wanted to. So, but remember, we did go back to Deuteronomy real quick. This is what you always got to remember. This is the scripture that always comes to my mind when it comes to. I remember I had a sister one time. She was like, "Yeah, I be selling pills, but I don't sell them to black folks. I just sell them to Esau." I'm like, "Okay, so you gonna sell pills to Esau? Then who are you gonna sell them to? He ain't thinking like you." But the point is, I shouldn't be a drug dealer. I shouldn't be selling pills, right? Deuteronomy 4 and verse 6. Right?
Book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4 and verse 6.
Right?
Keep therefore and do them.
Right, talking about the laws, statutes, and commandments. He said, keep therefore and do them. Not just for ourselves. Go ahead.
For this is your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations.
See that? That right there tells you that we were supposed to be wise and understanding people even in the sight of the nations. Now, when you go into Isaiah 2, it tells you what? That the law is going to go forth from Zion and all the people are going to cling on to us, nations included, right? What are they going to be learning? Don't eat pork. Don't do Christmas. Don't do shrimp. Don't do crab, lobster. Wow. Don't do none of the filthy things that y'all were doing. Right? So the law is going to go forth from Zion. We're going to be under Yahweh Shai and the Most High. We're going to be the administrators of the law. They're going to see us do it, and they're going to have to follow suit. So we can't do the whole, I'm going to bring them pork. There's not going to be no need for that.
Double standards.
Right. There's no double standard there as far as that. But how else would we be wise and understanding in their eyes? We had to treat them or entreat them with the law. Remember, whenever the stranger came towards us, they had to, down to circumcision, they had to circumcise before they could eat. You see that? We didn't just sit them down and just say, stuff your face. No, they had to clean up. Now, again, certain instances of the Most High keeping us extra clean from filth, the animal that died of itself, bro, if that thing died and, you go take that to the market and sell it to the Africans. You wouldn't sell it to an Israelite, though, but it would still be lawful. Just the Most High taking extra care for us. You see that? So, yeah. So, yeah, that you just toss. Chalk it up to nobody should be. It's better for a man to be hungry than to eat pork anyway.
I didn't throw it away. in.
Yeah. Good, because nobody needs to eat that filth. Wasn't the patty melt, huh? Damn. Anything else? That it? All right. We thank y'all for joining us online. I feel like something's coming up. Remember, we got the we got the summit here in Houston, February the 4th, 5th, 6th, I believe. That week of that February 4th weekend. All right, that's here in Houston. They're gonna start advertising for that, the summit. If you want to, everybody's welcome. Come through, bring your family, kick it for the weekend. You know what I'm saying? We probably won't have class that weekend because I'm gonna have to be part of the summit. So we're probably not gonna have class that weekend. Just throwing it out there. I know it's a little bit a ways from now, but it's really not. Time is flying. It's already about to be 2023. So, all right. With that, let's say shalom.
Shalom.
Shalom.